Hey everyone, I want to show you how you can make an AI bot with no code at all, and the bot can have access to your funds on chain using Base MCP. So here's just a quick demo of what it would look like in the end state. Here I've got my N8N workflow set up so that when it receives a chat message, it has this AI agent, and the agent has a couple of tools attached to it, including OpenAI and some memory. But most importantly, it has Base MCP hooked up to it. So I'm going to show you how it works first. First, I'm going to say how much of this token do I own in my wallet, and that's the address for Base Fart Coin. So you can see what it's doing is it used OpenAI's chat model to understand what I want. It looked at the memories to see if there's any history with this chat. And now it's reaching out to Base's MCP to figure out what tool it should use. And so I think it's going to use the ERC20 balance tool. And so now it reaches out and actually uses that tool using Base MCP and receives a response. And you can see here, it got the response of about 3,752 tokens. If I look on chain, that's exactly what I have in my wallet. So how do you go ahead and make this? Well, let me show you step by step. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Railway. I mean, you could really host this anywhere, but I think Railway has a great template for this to get set up really fast. So you just click New, and then you could type in N88. Sorry, we're going to have to first go to Deploy Template. And then we're going to choose N8N. And if it doesn't show up, you can just search for it with N8N. I choose the one with workers. I don't know if you actually need that or not. Still new, still learning. All you have to do is click deploy here, and it spins up your N8N project for you. All right, so now that that's deployed, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the Base MCP GitHub repository, and you're going to want to see all of these API keys and things that you'll need to make your chatbot work. So you're going to need your Coinbase API key and your Coinbase API private key. So I'll show you where you can get those right now. So what you're going to want to do is go to portal.cdp.coinbase.com, and you're going to want to create a new project and give it a name. I already did that. I have a project ID, which is what you're going to need. You're also going to need an API key. So you're going to want to get a secret key by clicking create API key and saving that information. But let's continue getting the rest of the keys that we need before we go back to Railway to plug stuff in. So the next thing that we're going to need is a seed phrase. And so you could get this by spinning up a new wallet and copying down the 12 words that you get. So you could use any wallet for this. You could use Coinbase wallet, you could use MetaMask, you could use Rabby, you could use anything that you're comfortable with using, and keeping that seed phrase safe is essential. You're also going to want to get an API key from Alchemy. So you're going to want to go to alchemy.com. You're going to click create API key, sign up, and get an API key from there. All right, so the next thing you're going to need is an Open Router API key. So to get that, you go to openrouter.ai, hover over your name. If you're not logged in, you can log in with something like GitHub or something. Click keys, and then you can click create a key, and you're going to need that for Railway as well. Let's take a look and see what else we need here. We're going to need a chain ID, so we're just going to use Base for this. So we'll use 8453. All right. So what we do is we take all of those secrets, and you go to your settings of Railway, and then you go to your environment shared variables, and then you can go here and you can paste every environment variable that you have here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off screen. Okay, so now I've inputted all of those key value pairs. You'll notice that I actually added the letters MCP underscore before each one. So you have to do that when you are adding them to Railway, and I'll explain why in a little bit. Also, just really quick, I forgot to mention this one, Pinata JWT. You'll just want to go to app.pinata.cloud, sign up, go to API keys, make yourself an API key there. You're going to want to get the JWT, which is a different type of token. And that's the one that you're going to want to use when you plug it into Railway here. All right. So once you do all of that, what you do next is you're going to want to share them to each of those environments. So I'll show you how to do that now. So go to your primary, go to variables, and then here where there's like this shared variables, and you're going to add all. And then you're also going to want to go to your worker, you're going to share your variables, add all as well. You're going to need to apply all these changes by clicking deploy and doing a redeploy. Okay, that finished, but I actually forgot a crucial API key. So, or not an API key, an environment variable. So a crucial environment variable you need to add is going to be this one called N8N community packages allow tool usage. Just like that, no MCP, at the beginning of this one, and the value for that is true. So add that. My bad. I have to go back to these each of these other services, apply that one more time. Shared variable, add this one, go here, my shared variables, add that one. Okay, redeploy, come back, finish the next step. Okay, our deploy just finished. So now what we're going to do is go to the primary. You're going to click on the URL that you have there and then sign in or sign up to N8N. So if this is your first time coming here, you'll just want to fill this out so that you could set up your owner account. So I'm going to do that really quick. All right, so I just filled that out and then it hits you with this survey. I don't think you actually need to do any of that. So yeah, you could send me a free license key. I'm gonna skip that for now. Okay. Now, if you go to your settings down here, you're gonna need to go to community nodes and install a community node. And the name of the package that we need to install is called N8N-nodes-MCP. And you check that you understand the risks of installing unverified code and click install. So we're going to need this in order to use the out-of-the-box MCP tools offered by N8N. So once we're done installing this, we'll come back and set it up. So now that it's installed, what we can do is we can go back here to the overview and let's start from scratch. All right, so this is the real fun part. So now we get to kind of put together our AI bot. So let's add that first step. That's just going to be some kind of message or chat. Let's see, chat trigger. All right, let's just add this here. Okay, then the next thing we're going to need is go to advanced AI, choose AI agent, and we can just drop this in as is right here. Okay, now for a chat model, I'm just going to go ahead and use Chat GPT. So I'm going to use OpenAI. I'm going to pick GP40 Mini. And then what you need to do is create a credential. So you click create credential, and you have to go get an API key from OpenAI. So I'll show you where that is. So you're going to want to go to platform.openai.com. You're going to go up here to the settings and then go over to your API keys and then just click create new secret key. And that'll give you an API key that you can use back over here. You paste it in and then you'll be off to the races. So you don't need an organization ID or anything like that. You could leave the base URL as it is and click save. And now you've connected your OpenAI account to the agent. So now it has the OpenAI chat model. I can go ahead and add some simple memory here as the memory for the chatbot. And then here we can use the MCP tool as the tool. We're going to need two. So let's add the first one. And the credential that we're going to need is information from the Base MCP server. So we go back to that GitHub and we scroll down a little bit. You can see here it has the command of npx. So we're going to add that in over here as the command. The arguments is going to be -y and then base-mcp at latest. So I'm going to add that here like this with a space in the middle. And then environments we can leave blank because we had the railway environment variables with MCP underscore whatever. It's going to automatically add those into these environments. So we don't need that. We can just click save. And now we have an MCP client right here. And the operation we're going to want is list tools. So we're going to leave it like that for now. And then we're going to connect one more tool. We're going to use that MCP tool again, but this time we're going to choose execute tool. And instead of hard coding the tool name, we're going to let the bot decide. So we're going to use an expression and we're going to do double curly braces. We're going to say $from AI and then tool as the string. Now that's probably the most, or probably all the code you're going to write for this whole thing is just this little variable insertion thing here. So that's it. Now, when you choose the tool parameters, just say, let the model define this. Click these little sparkles here. All right, so now we have our AI agent. We plugged all of these things together. Before we get started, we're going to make this agent a little bit smarter. I haven't really perfected this yet, but I've noticed that by tweaking the system prompts a little bit, we can make it a little bit smarter. So if I double click into the agent and we go to add an option here and go to the system message, I'm going to paste in this prompt here that I wrote. So This is saying you're a helpful blockchain wallet assistant who specializes in reading and executing data on the blockchain. You have an MCP server available to you that can list the available wallet actions called tools. The names of these tools you receive are the exact names of the tools you'll execute, and you'll have an MCP server to execute the tools, but you must use the exact name of the tool that you're provided in the list tools MCP server in order for them to work properly. So when you receive a query, you should ask the MCP server to list the available tools, and then you should decide which tool should be executed, if at all, and execute it according to the query. But be sure to use the exact name of the tool. What I found was that this was kind of like making up the name of the tool. And so this prompt kind of helped a little bit with that, but we'll see how this does. So I'm going to ask it, how much of this token do I have in my wallet? And I'm going to paste the Base Fartcoin address there for now, just to give it a little hint. I don't need it doing too much work, like trying to figure out the name of the token to like its address. So you can see what it's doing here. It went through memory, see if there were any chat history. It's trying to figure out what to do next. It's currently asking for the list of tools from the MCP base, or the Base MCP system that we set up. So once that comes back, it should have all the actions that Base MCP are capable of. And when Base MCP updates with new actions, this agent will automatically inherit those actions because we're using that @latest tag. So we'll always have the latest data that the MCP server offers, which is great because now you don't have to kind of like work to add new features and capabilities to your bot. You'll sort of just inherit all of the work that the community does by adding new features to the MCP client, which is really cool. So it got its list of tools, and then it's going to decide which one to use. So here's the big list. Let's see what the OpenAI model chose. All right, unclear to me what it chose, but let's see here. All right, it's it wasn't exactly clear to me, but it got the right answer. And for the sake of this video, that's good enough for me. All right. So I hope you all have fun. I hope you build something really cool with this, make a crazy workflow, no code needed, just plug things together and start making really cool apps. All right. See ya.